Hello, are we live? Yes? It's so weird because we can't see you, but we feel your energetic presence through another chat box. So this is the Her Theater Company and SideQuest Productions team. Um, so this is a talkback, so we would love to hear from some of you. Do you have any specific questions for our playwrights, for our directors, for our actors, our creative team? I'm going to be having Kayla pass those along to me. So I'm actually just going to start off while we're kind of waiting to see if anybody has any questions. So the first thing that I kind of want to ask is I would love to actually ask Jenny. Jenny, if you could just wave, Jenny, so people know who you are.
Hi.
Okay, awesome. So I would like to ask Jenny, why don't you share what she was the playwright? Why don't you share with them what you wrote and directed, and share with them what was it like writing something and getting to direct that very same piece?
Sure. So I wrote Truth and Consequences, which is the scene with the psychic. And I also directed that scene. And it was really fun. First of all, it was just really an honor to be asked to write something and to write about, I really wanted to write about basically the idea that you always know, like there's always that knowing, and you have two characters, one of which who knows that she knows she's tapped into that psychic power, and then another character who knows something but just still is seeking confirmation outside of that, and how often, I just wanted to point out how often we're seeking confirmation outside of ourselves, and that even when we do know, how easy it can be to deny the truth, the way that Athena did during the scene. So it was a pleasure to write it, and it was amazing to work with these two actresses to bring it to life, to direct it, and really, I really feel like it was such a collaborative process. Even after the first read, there were things that they said and they did, and I was like, and I went in and did edits based on what they did and what they brought to life. So I really do feel like it was an opportunity for us all to come together to create a really amazing piece of art, and it was just such a pleasure to do that and to work with everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. So we have a question from the Peanut Gallery, and I am the messenger. The question is the question is, they wanted to know, how did we do all the special effects? So I'm assuming they're probably talking mostly about Mission on Black Eye, the last scene. So Kayla, do you want to speak to the special effects? Just introduce yourself, say your role and the special effects, and then Sam can also chime in about that.
Yeah, sure. So hi, I'm Kayla. I am part of the creative team at SideQuest Productions. For this particular project for Her, I did all the programming for the show that you guys just watched. So every time the boxes came in and out, every time the videos started, that was through me. And we do that through, thank you. We do that through a program called OBS. Which basically allows you, which is actually really popular on this particular streaming service, Twitch. A lot of gaming people use it, and it's just a way for you to capture things and put them back out there. And then there are some other things that we did, like all those transition videos that you saw were actually done by Kathy Lee, who's another member of our team. She animated all of those. So some of these things are freshly built from our team, and other things are like us finding backgrounds off the internet and stuff like that.
And stray white walls.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kayla. I have a question for playwright Renee. So if you could just introduce yourself, Renee, once I ask the question, and then just say what scene you wrote. I want to know, what was your intention and the point behind writing the game? And what was also kind of a two-part question. What was it like getting to work in collaboration with Jenny as the director, as she directed the piece that you wrote?
Cool. Yeah. Well, my name's Renee, and I wrote the game. My intention with the piece, well, first off, when I heard that the theme was intuition, I thought of a specific moment that actually happened with me and my husband when we were dating, where we actually did participate in the newlywed game. And he did call me goofy, clumsy, and intuitive. True story.
Comes out.
But that was kind of the jumping off point for the scene. And then it kind of, as I was writing it, I realized, okay, so what is this really about? You know, it's about a couple who's insecure, and what kind of fuels their insecurity. Okay, it's fueled by their friends, but it's also fueled by social media. So I thought it'd be really cool to almost write a prequel to a post, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of times we're on Instagram and we're scrolling through Instagram and we see like a pretty picture of the perfect couple or like a selfie or really anything. And we might have like, we could have a moment of jealousy or think, wow, their life is so perfect. But really, we don't really know what happened before the post or what led them to even make the post. So I thought it'd be interesting to see an imperfect situation, which eventually led to these people posting about it. And it was amazing working with you guys. It was so cool. It was really fun because it was my first time actually writing anything that was performed. So that was really awesome. And it was just nice seeing how other people interpreted your work. You know, like there were things you guys read. I was like, oh, I never would have thought of it that way. And it turned out really, really fun. I loved it. Great job, everyone, by the way.
Yay! We made Playwright happy. I think director's happy too.
Yes, we did.
Yay! Awesome. I actually have a question for Melanie. Just so you know, one of the people in the chat said they want to see part 2 of Black Eye. So now you've left them with a cliffhanger. Good job, Melanie. Good job, Sam. Like, very good. So I actually wanted to know specifically, how did the theme inform you writing that piece? And so it's a two-parter. And what was it like for you as a playwright to get to create a character and then perform that character? What was that like?
Hi, everyone. I'm Melanie. It was really, really awesome to write something that ended up being super complicated, much more complicated than I realized going into this platform. And I just kind of wanted to take it off of the Zoom or what you would expect for us to kind of do and just make it a little more challenging and use the fact that we were working with these amazing women at SideQuest and we had this cool technical support to just do something a little bit different. And when I found out the theme was intuition, I thought, okay, well, I kind of want to play with sci-fi maybe, since we're all on screen, you know, and we're like living in this virtual world. So what can we do with that? And I really liked the idea that 2 of the characters have an intuition. They have like a strong sense of what they need to do, but they're different, they're opposing. And, you know, what kinds of things filter out your actual intuition or, you know, keep you from sensing danger if you're really desperate, but you still kind of care for that character because she's doing something that she feels is really the correct thing to do. So I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of play with intuition butting heads, 2 people's intuition butting heads. And then the second part of the question, writing a character that I got to play. Yeah, that was interesting. I think my process for that is usually pretty separate. I write something and make sure it all works. And of course I have an idea of like what I can play as my type, or, you know, I wouldn't write something just to be like, I'm going to do this ridiculous thing. And I knew the actors that I was getting to work with. So I had the benefit of like writing a part that would fit for all of us, but hopefully be kind of challenging and fun and maybe a little different for them. And then working on it, I was not in the writing mode at all, except I was like, crap, why did I do this? Because we had a lot, it was very involved and it was just a different kind of challenge. And also to be able to connect with each other in these big scenes. That is very unusual the way we're doing it. And I cannot wait until we could do it again in person, but this has been so cool to just work with SideQuest, partner with them, and have that support. Like we didn't have to do all of that, and we could just be actors. And actors always have trouble with their props and stuff, right, Sam? So we're just always being reminded of things that we're gonna forget. So that's just normal.
That's wonderful. Thank you for saying that, Melanie. Just to reiterate again, Sam, Kayla, Gabby, who's listening, Catherine, who's not here, Kathy, who's not here. We felt so held and supported by you all. Like, thank God for you. So that's a perfect transition. I actually have a question for you, Sam. It might be like a two-parter question. So, why do you love directing, and what do you think makes you a really great director? And I guess this is a three-part question. I know I'm giving you the most complicated question, Sam. And I know that you come from such a technical stage background. How does that knowledge and that background inform doing rehearsals on Zoom, like, and also just inform your directing? So I'm so sorry, that was like 3 or 4 questions, but I think you just start talking. I think you're going to answer.
Yes, I come from a technical background. I'm a professional stage manager. I'm a production manager. I've been working in LA for union houses for the past 8 years. So I've had a lot of behind the scenes experience. And about 4 years ago, I started to get the desire to direct, because you're sitting in rehearsal halls and you're watching these artists make choices, and you're sitting in all the production meetings, and you're watching shows as a stage manager night after night. You're watching shows, you're watching actors make choices, and you start to get ideas and you start to get inspired by that. And you start to play the game of, what choice would I make if I had the ability to make these choices? It is not my place as a stage manager to give artistic input. But if it was for some reason, and you start playing these what if games. And then after a few years of what if games, I started to really pursue directing, and then the pandemic hit, which meant that all of my wonderful technical cohorts had no shows to work on. And so I said, hey guys, how would we do a show online? And thus SideQuest was born. So does that answer your question?
Absolutely. And not just thus SideQuest was born. For those of you who are watching, her voice is the original. Sam came to me. So this unbelievable genius technical support was birthed. You were the catalyst for it, Sam. So I just want to make sure people know that. Awesome. Thank you, Sam. So I have a question for a couple of the actors so someone actually asked, and it's similar to the question that I wanted to ask. Let me just find it. So Marissa, I'm going to ask you first. Okay. What character for you that you portrayed did you relate to the most, and why did you relate to them the most? And so I'm just going to let you take that.
Ooh, that's a good question.
You won't offend any of the playwrights too. I know.
I mean, I feel like you have to find a way to relate to all the characters in order to portray them in a believable way. But the one that I would say the most, I mean, probably the Truth and Consequences one, because she's so like neurotic and like kind of like spazzy and like, oh, but maybe this, but then also maybe this. And it's like, she just goes back and forth between like this duality of like, I don't believe you, but maybe I do believe you. But I also do, oh my God, I'm totally convinced, but also what? And I feel like my neurotic personality just lined up perfectly with that. And I didn't even have to act. So that was great.
Awesome. I love that. Kelly, what was the most challenging scene for you, and why?
I suppose the most challenging scene for me would be the game, which is the scene I did with you, where it's the couple arguing, only because I was actually playing the opposite of who Kelly, would have been in that scene. If I were to be one of those characters, I 1000% would have been Carly's character. So basically I had to play against everything. Carrie has a very different whole energy about her than Kelly has. So it was a 180 shift. And instead I was looking at the mirror of who Kelly the person is. So.
Awesome. So there was one question asked that I'm going to answer, and then I think we're going to wrap up the talkback. So someone was asking about they picked up on the theme of trusting your intuition versus the danger of not, and asking how this process has impacted our own connection to our intuition. And also, why choose the theme intuition? How do you see this message can impact women? And it's kind of funny because I absolutely see intuition as something that is considered inherently feminine and inherently something that women are better at. And I do see it as something is almost, it's not real, or it's invalidated, or it's something that's not, I think that's literally one of the lines in A Woman's Superpower. It's not considered as important. And I think for me personally, and I don't know if I'm sure other women on this Zoom call can relate, to have had so many times in my life that I've listened to what other people have said is the right thing that I should do, and completely ignored and doubted every fiber in my body that was saying, no, this isn't right. But I think what's so extraordinary about this is it shows what it can look like, women actually stepping into fully trusting themselves. And the fact that we're all in this group together and writing scenes for women, and it's all created by women. It's kind of, for me, it's a literal example of that. It's an example of us trusting ourselves and us allowing ourselves to be in touch with our intuition and express our true authentic voice. So I think it's just really important for women to see that in the world and see that that's okay, and get in touch with it even quicker than maybe I did or some of the other women on this call have. So anyways, we love you all so much. Thank you so much for being here. We would love to talk to you for hours, but I think this is a perfect end point. And if you love the show, please donate. Donations are so appreciated, and it allows SideQuest to keep doing extraordinary productions and her to keep doing extraordinary productions. And thank you for being our audience, even though we cannot see you or hear you. We love you. So if you all want to get off mute and just wave bye and express your love, you can.
Bye, thank you.
Everyone.
Bye, thank you.
so much.
Yay.
Thank you.